locally, maybe non-locally, about what does it look like, what does Ready to Serve youth group look like culturally and all of that, and begin to start adding to what we got going on, all coming from this place that it's and I'll share something. It's good to be good at a lot of stuff, but it's better to be great at a few things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And work with people who are great at the thing that you're just good at. Does that make sense? So we're praying into that. We're really looking at, okay, I'm good at it, but so what? Somebody's great at it. So who is that person? What do they look like? And so what that means as far as what our growth is looking like, even for 2020, well, you're already seeing the impacts of it. Some of you, I had Pastor Moore up earlier in particular, and he's one that him and his family are coming, being connected to the ministry. I know things that he is great at. And since I know things that he's automatically great at, he's a pastor that started his ministry, one ministry a year before we started this one, that supported also 3 or 4 other ministries. So he's going to have a view of some things that we don't see. And so we're going to be intentional about being able to hear, being able to listen, being able to have those meetings, and being able to leverage what he's great at, because there are some things he is very good at. So that's an example. But there's also people who are here who've talked to me already about stuff. In particular, I don't see Brandy, but I see, Quanika in terms of Don's here, but I know she asked me about what ministry again called?
Prophetic dance ministry.
What about the prophetic dance ministry, prophetic arts ministry? I'm like, that sounds great. I'm good at prophetic something, but I'm not good at all prophetic arts. And I'm definitely not going to be looking to manage something like that. So we're asking the question, how do we take what we have that is good and make it great for the kingdom? So, social media development, Facebook and YouTube. People of God, I have, it fascinates me the impact that the posts have that we post or that I post on Facebook. Fascinates me the amount of people who look at it, the amount of people who touch that. It fascinates me the amount of people ask me about videos. I had people who I didn't even know was looking at the videos was telling me how they was grieving not having the videos. People in Arkansas was like, I ended up going to my church, then I come home to look at y'all service. And so we have this going on, and we have these things going on and people communicating. And something that has happened historically, and it happens with ministries when they're at a certain size. What you end up doing, and I'll give you the progression of how ministry works. When you're at a certain size, depends on your level of mentorship, you end up, and when I say you, oftentimes it ends up being the pastor and the wife, they end up trying to develop, trying to run everything. And then you do it for I don't know how many years, to where even when it's time to shift, you have to even start stepping back a little bit. And that's something that I'm doing and that we're talking about right now. How do we step back? Because I've been looking at how inconsistent I am with Facebook, and people find me. I can be walking, going into meetings, and people who I didn't even, like I said again, in town, that's working professional jobs. I really enjoy those videos. Like, what? I didn't even know you went to church. Yeah, but I enjoy those videos. So we're going to really begin to start talking about that. How do we put together a structure, a system, to where that is something that somebody's great at, and that can take it, because truthfully, somebody's great at it. The amount of material that we're producing out of here monthly is already second to none. Second to none. People want it, right? But we're a house, and we just love it. We just love it. But we're going to talk about that. Great. Who's great at it? All right? Part of what we're going to be doing, and one of our big targets for this year, and some of you know I'll be talking with you more about this, is doing a church feasibility study. What a church feasibility study actually does, it tells you, you can actually look at your church, your ministry, You can see the strong, you can see the weak points, you can see different things. Why would you do this? Because as a ministry, technically according to numbers, we've been outgrown this place. We moved into the place, outgrown it. We moved in like that. But it was great because we weren't looking for more physical growth because we needed to heal.
Yes.
Now that we're moving beyond that healing state, there's conversations we're having, there's places that we're checking out, we have been checking out, to move us to the place to where we can actually make sure people are not thinking about whether or not they're going to have a seat or whether or not they're going to be able to sit in the back away from crowds when they come. So we're doing that, and so the hope in 2020 is to be able to actually move to another location with this feasibility study and also see whether or not it's better to buy or to build. And on the heel of that, then we're going to be looking at what potentially, it's not we're going to call it a capital campaign, but we're going to call it an opportunity for people to sow into what's happening here so we can build and have some long-term sustaining stuff. And something that's fascinating to me is that I can remember even a few years ago talking with a contractor that I know who owns a big development place here. And I was talking about properties and everything, and he was telling me then, I'll help you get into it, I'll help you launch your capital campaign, and of course, you know my organization, we're going to give to you. And this particular person, I ain't talked to him in a couple of years, but I know I can go to him right now and ask for money. I had a meeting with him, told him about a mentoring program I was doing. Before I even shared the details, he had his checkbook out. And how many of these people exist around Spokane? Quite a few. And what's getting us to this place is part of it is going to be a paradigm shift, and part of it is going to be us being able to not just cater, but us being able to welcome in the diversity of people that God is trying to send here. Because there is groups of people that has profiles right now that we're not designed to serve because we just haven't got there yet. But during 2020, you're going to notice a specific changeover. You're going to know when it happened. You're going to automatically notice that different things are happening around, different things. We got a couple doctors in the house right now, but wait till the lawyers start coming in. Right? Wait till the various other people start coming in, because they're on their way. They're asking and they're ready. All right? So it's part of us getting ready. And so I do have to tell you, it's going to be a process for Christina and I and James as well, because we are going to have to work out how to release stuff, because we have traumas. I mean, we have traumas from releasing before the time. That's the positive thing about a prophetic ministry, but a not so positive thing about a prophetic ministry is that you see what people are gifted at, which is a strength. But if you don't discern the timing, what you end up doing, it can actually push stuff back on you and hinder you and others. And that's something that we're really working against. And the Spirit of the Lord has been really speaking that the level of maturity in the place that's present and who He's sending in right now is going to be prime for us to do what we're going to do on this year. A lot of stuff is starting this year. Okay. Evangelistic ministry. We're looking, I said those contacts we had, I mean, we're going to be beefing that stuff up. We're going to be beefing that up. To give you a case example, how I know the season and the time is more than right on, I actually met with a community center person. First of all, I met with the chief of police, congratulated them, and said, I know your vision is to help and support and reach out to the community, so here I am, want to see what's going on. I need to connect you with this person. Go connect with this person. This person is the director over community center. I share what we're talking about doing and share whether or not I want to go on the journey, see whether or not it's something we can work together. Before I left, he wanted to work together. He wanted to give me space. He wanted to do various things and stuff. But something unique about it, looking at it definitely as an evangelistic opportunity, is something very much so needed in the area that we're talking about. But something that I'm doing which is way different. I'm not rushing to start anything. I know how to start things, right? My goal is not to learn more proficiently how to start things, because I can start things very quick. My goal is to get to sustainability as well as help others to start things so they live on beyond them. In our planning now, if the thing is not going to live beyond our life, poorly planned for me. Except when God tells us it needs to morph. Everything you do, it should live beyond you, and you should never see the fullness of what it actually was. That's kind of that can mess. Think about it.
Yeah.
It lives beyond you. That's what I'm looking at particularly. And part of something that's going to go along with that is that I'm going to be doing some specific training that I want to do. And when I say training, I should say more like mentorship, because some stuff to learn your scope of favor, you need somebody who probably coach you a little bit, but you need to get out there and do it. Because the only way you're going to find out what you're favored in is you get out there and try some things. People may tell you an area, but you got to get out there yourself. Okay? Also, something that I'm kind of excited about it, because it's part of the original visioning, is we're going to start the process of developing R2S School of Ministry with a heavy prophetic emphasis for 2020 and beyond. What it looks like in concept, researching, there's a couple of accreditation. There's also one particular university that's already accredited that you can actually partner with. We can do classes, give out certificates. They can submit certificates to the university if they want to, and they can transform them into credits for college that can be transferable between credits. Our main thing won't be that. Our main thing is going to have something well organized. So one day, 1 year, people are going to be like, I go to Ready to Serve in-house, Ready to Serve School of Ministry, and I'm learning yada, 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 all of that. That's going to be part of our development and part of our church, that's the church development goal as well, going forward. Yep. So, ooh, that's pretty small. How big is it up there?
Look, turn around.
Okay.
You turn around, I can't see.
It's pretty good.
It's, yeah, it's seeable. So something that's happening, this is preliminary chart, and it's outlining specific stuff that I'm talking about that's going to be critical for us moving forward, and this is going to drive the framework in terms of what we're thinking about and how we're thinking about what's going on. Right now, I have consultation and training ministries, right? I have that on my side, and I go. Top, senior pastors, me and Christina and I. Consultation, training ministries, I'm going to be over that. Nutshell, what that means, and I go, there's other thing. If you notice, you won't see names under the leaders and all that stuff, because our hope and our desire is to be able to put people as we go throughout the year, next year, in places based upon God saying, this is the great producer right here, or this is the person for it. So, function. It's going to be function.
No,
What?
yeah, no title.
Yeah, it ain't really about title, it's about function. So church development leader. What this means is, I thought it was a little strange. I'm going to tell you something I thought was a little strange. 2018 had a church, newly formed, to actually come and ask could they be under the Ready to Serve Ministries. I said, no, not a good time. Not a good time. Not that I didn't appreciate them, not that I didn't love them, but we did not have the bandwidth because of what we were trying to do here to do that. More are going to be doing that. And what does that mean? They come in, oftentimes, there is some stuff that people see you have that you'll never see you have. That's just how they work. So that's something that we're going to be looking at. A church development leader, what does that mean, like to develop church and ministry so they can be healthy and whole and fulfill the visioning of the leader of the organization. That's what that's kind of about. Prophetic training leader, we are a prophetic house. You've got to have some kind of prophetic training. If you are a prophetic house, if you don't, you'll be okay with your group of cluster people, but I think you can do a disservice for the cities because prophetic ministries are rare in cities and stuff. So it behooves us to look at that area, and we're known in the community as a prophetic ministry. I need to say that again. You know what, sometimes you know what you are, but you really know what you are when people tell you what you are.
Yes.
So, ministry training, that's ministry and minister training. Something that's happening, that has happened down throughout the years, is that we've had various people in various stages. I've had people come to the ministry, and it's cool. I had some people come, as soon as they met me, they came and let me know that they ain't planning to stay. They plan out to hang a little bit so they can start their own ministry. I've had it. And that conversation goes like, I'm so grateful that you told me. Because you have to know I'm not going to be investing time in you, though. Because I got too much other stuff going on here. You're free to come, you're free to worship, you're free to do stuff. What this ministry training thing is going to do is that we're going to be open and receptive to certain people that fits a profile, to be able to take time out and to be able to pour into them. I'm saying we, that probably means it's going to be somebody else, but I am saying we because we connected. To where they're going to be like, it's going to be individuals who are able to say that, to help people with basic structural stuff. Like with us in the house, some of you may know it, some of you may not know it. As soon as you come here, there's always typically a conversation around that kind of hints toward whether or not you got an alt with an old ministry. Every time we have conversation kind of around that. If any of you think back, it's something about what happened in your past, what's going forward. Because I've seen many people try to start ministries and they didn't leave, they couldn't leave, didn't leave the place that they left correctly, and not knowing that your ministry becomes a ticking time bomb. You're not protected when you got that going on. And there are certain things we do. I've also ministered with people who couldn't go back to a leader and all this kind of stuff because of issues that was happening, and we worked it out to where they can at least get things together so they can flow. And then eventually when it was time to repair and heal, they could do that. Community partnership leader. I am gifted personally and anointed for community partnership. People want to work with me. People want to work with me. And am I being braggadocious? I can be braggadocious, can I? No. That ain't nothing to brag about, truthfully. That's work. But
So somebody else that is gifted at.
That's
not boasting.
their organizations want to work. Organizations ask me questions. They want to consult with me. They ask me to be part of boards. I turned down one, 2018. Recently had another meeting. We have, I think, an $800 million operating budget. Would you be a part of what we got going on? We look at community program and transformation. I'm tempted to say no, but I don't have a viable excuse yet. So if I get a viable excuse, I'm going to say no. If it don't come, I'm going to be doing that. And what is that about? It's about the gift. It's about what you are great at. Whatever you're great at, people are going to tell you what you're great at. You're not. I'm going to keep saying that. People are going to take your gift, make room for you, and cause you to go before great people. You don't say what your gift is. People do. Because you manifest it. All right. Next, church administration. You have Miss Harris, who is over that, accountant, finance team, congregational care leader. This is looking at the broad spectrum. This is looking at what do it mean to really take care of the congregation. And so we're going to be exploring that. Communication teams leader. This is someone who is good at communicating, over-communicating about what's happening, about what's not happening in the ministry, about what's going, and not only in-house, but also making sure people on the outside is fully aware about what's happening with Ready to Serve Ministry. So that's what I'm looking at. Evangelism and outreach leader, someone who is great at evangelism and outreach, and that has the bandwidth to be able to go and follow up within that, related to evangelism and outreach as it relates to what Ready to Serve is and what Ready to Serve is becoming. So when I say Ready to Serve, doctors, lawyers, various other professionals coming in, the person that's exceptional is a person that can go in many different venues and people are attracted to them no matter what spirit. That's what we're looking at. And then we go to executive pastors of ministry. We got James, and this is what we're working toward. Men's and women's ministry leader, overseeing them. These are individuals who are great at looking at specific what's happening with men and what's happening with women ministry. Children and youth ministry leaders in that area. Arts ministry leaders, the prophetic ministry, prophetic dance, music, various things. We know arts is, music is our area. Interesting thing is, by it being so much of our area, we have people come through on their way to other states asking us, do we got recordings? Whenever they pop up in there. That has been a common trend, but we've never had that person that was great, that saw it, that could put it together, and that could put it out there to make sure people had it. Pastor Tony constantly talked about this element with the ministry, constantly talking about the internet. And I thought it was kind of interesting at the school last year with the pastors from across the United States, because that's mostly who was there, pastors, evangelists, teachers, prophets, and everything. He was sharing with the whole group, if you're doing anything prophetic musically wise, you need to be talking to Pastor Oscar now, because they got it down. We're getting that type of recognition, and we're still, and Lupe and Steve, I see you. I remember the conversation you had when you first came here. Can I get recordings? I remember that. So I don't think we necessarily dropped the ball. I think it was not an area of focus. That's all I believe. And so that's something we want to kind of focus in, or when I say we, you know I mean someone else. Mm-hmm. All right. And then fellowship ministry leaders. This individual that moves it from a great place is someone who is gifted with hanging out and setting up stuff that people want to hang out at and be a part of. This person typically will like just being around people, hanging out. I like people. I don't like hanging out too long, though. That's just my temperament. I like being around people. I don't like hanging out. So someone who's great at that, who can actually begin to start saying, okay, as a ministry, these are the likes, these are the dislikes. These are the celebrations that's going on in the ministry. These are different types of other things. Oh, these are holidays going on, and these are things we need to take care of. Oh, the Super Bowl is coming up right now. Someone who can come and propose and say, you know what, I think we should have a big Super Bowl party and something. So what should happen, Pastor? We know you're going to have us at church, and you're going to be looking at people, and people are going to be looking at you and trying to be polite, but they're going to be hoping that you rush what you're saying and get out of the way so they can get on. So the pastors, instead of even dealing with that, what?
No, we got 40 minutes to see.
That type of stuff, exactly. Instead of saying that, saying, Pastor, is it okay for people to come in and they have their jerseys on and you make sure you have the TVs and everything set up so a person, if they choose to hang around, they can actually go in there and pastor. People, I've already did a consensus, and people, they love these kind of snack foods during Super Bowl. Is there a way we can invest in that so when people get that, they don't have to think about going to watch a football game, go and watch some pigskin being thrown around versus listening to you. I get it, don't bother me, actually. Don't bother me at all. But a person be thinking like that. They'll be thinking about what's the trends and the patterns. What's happening around Christmas? Oh, Halloween is coming around. And people into celebrating Halloween, we know we're not into that and everything. But can it be a moment of fellowship and we celebrate and we help people to understand more about why we don't celebrate? But our kids who's too young to understand about it, they still intermingling with people who are doing it all the time. So, Pastor, is it okay for us to dress them up like superheroes and then let them come to church and everything? And we don't do trick or treat, we don't do trick or trunk. We don't do none of those trick or nothing, but what you do, you get a chance to hang around and then we have a good fellowship. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Someone who's great at it, that's how they think. Someone who's great. All right. What's that? What is this? Brevity? This? So even in sync with that Super Bowl, something that I am praying into, I am really looking into the length of services, the structure of service. That's why I said, Brother Vaughn, I was like 12:40. I was like, that's pretty good, ain't it? What I'm saying is, if it's possible, we look at it. If it's not, it's okay. Is it possible to start setting a structure that has a level of predictability that's going to be able to cater to specific things that's going to be happening at the ministry? What I mean by that, if the Holy Spirit is saying keep going, we keep going. But if the Holy Spirit ain't saying keep going, we stop. I mean, boy, quite a few of y'all are shaking your head. Yes, yes, let's do that. So that's something that we're looking at, that we're talking into, that we're praying into. Love hanging out, love what God is doing in the glory, love what's happening in His Spirit. But I do pay attention that, and we have rules and stuff, not rules, but we automatically know that people have things happening on Sundays. And we're talking about being a ministry about family, about balance and stuff. So what do it mean to have a service that starts at 11 and that's out by 12:30, 1 o'clock, consistent? What does it mean? So we're praying into that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to go out of my way to pull back the time. What we may do, we may build another structure to where we have a part two. We actually say, oh, break time. You need to roll, because it's still, we look at, even in here, to leave, you can't be inconspicuous when you leave. And some of us it's ingrained in us that you need to be able to be inconspicuous to put your finger up when you leave. So we're going to be looking at those forms and factions. So how is it going to look going forward in the ministry? You're going to notice some people probably taking notes. You're going to notice that some of us, that I'm probably going to be meeting with some people, and I'm going to be asking specifically, what you see, what do you know? You're going to be seeing various new people. Get ready. You're going to be seeing various new people coming from different places, doing different things, and because we're going to be getting at it, and we're going to see how do we move forward in 2020 with the visions and everything that God's brought forth. I believe that a lot of people are already here. That is necessary, but I believe that there are people God is sending that's going to be great and help others to become great. Okay? Next church meeting, March 15th, 2020. At 2 p.m., I want to end it by saying one thing for sure. You are an amazing group of individuals. You are an amazing group of individuals. I've seen your skill set. I see in the spirit your gift sets. And I know God done took everybody who's listening to me through some processes to not only make you qualified to begin to start demonstrating great stuff, but I believe very much so opportunities is coming. Some on the chart had leaders, plural. It's very, very possible. The best case scenario is to have multiple people actually assigned to different areas. That's the best case scenario. And so these are things we're going to be talking about. We're going to be sowing into it. And so a lot of meetings is going to be happening. I want to say a little experimentation, but it's more or less listening and following instructions even more is what we're going to be trying to do moving in. But I want to say again, thank you all for your service. Thank you who've given. You've given to the ministry. You've consistently given to the ministry. You've been faithful at the level that you could. Notice I say at the level that you could. Some of you have went through some stuff. I mean, it's some hard stuff. But I'm grateful God brought you through, and I believe He brought you through. And so now you can help somebody else through. Okay? Any questions before I dismiss you? We good?
Good.
All right, people. Thank you again, and be blessed.